indicative of an order of magnitude of change in the acidity. If you go from 8 to 7, there's 10 times more acid. So really that's like a log assessment. So there's significant changes in the pH related to changes in oxygen, related to changes in conductivity. And they're organized somehow across the landscape. Well, what sort of things can organize them? Well, one of the ways to think about floodplains is to effectively think of them as beads on a string. If we were to pan back and look at the Middle Fork of the Nyack as one floodplain on the Middle Fork, we'd see that it typically comes in as a river channel constrained by its bedrock laterally, and then opens into a bead where fluvial forces can deposit alluvium, building a floodplain. Then it constrains it. These areas where it opens up or constrains are called nick points. And what we know from work that Mark Lorang and Jack Stanford have done is that upon entering the bead, the river loses a large amount of water into the aquifer. That water then returns to the river at the downstream end of the bead. So this is a fully integrated system. The same water in the river ends up being the water in the aquifer. So it might be logical then that some of this organization has to do with flow paths from the upstream to the downstream portions of the aquifer. So let's take a look at that. If we plot the distance below the nick point, that is the upstream opening of the bedrock, and look at something like electrical conductivity, we see that the electrical conductivity nearly doubles as you move down the floodplain system through the aquifer. At the same time, the dissolved oxygen is driven downwards from something near 60 to 75% saturation to values